Okay, before I go into the watch this video for Wednesday, April 19th, I want to remind everybody that this Thursday, so this is already Tuesday, so in 2 days, our next free webinar, which is our Inflection Points Part 2. And if you watched our Inflection Points original one, this is a great follow-up because we left some people with more questions than answers, and I'm also seeing people post certain things that they think now are inflection points, and we're going to clear that up for you. So hence the part two. It is our most watched, most popular webinar, the first one, and we expect a big crowd for part two as well. We're also going to take questions afterwards. So check the, what do you call it, the description to this video on YouTube. I'll have a link to register for the webinar. It might actually fill up, I'm not sure. We'll see, but it's again, it's our most popular one, and I think it's going to be pretty informative. It's the follow-up, and bring your questions for for anything inflection points related after the presentation, and or just anything about our trading methodology or trading in general at all. Wayne and I will be taking questions afterwards. These are always fun, and usually we get really good feedback. So if you can, check it out, and we'll see you then. And now I'm going to go into the watch list video here. Let's get that out of the way. Real quick, a couple other comments. I'm going to give an example of something that I called today in chat. CBLI 415 with the 399 stop idea. So the entry idea was 415. And the reason I'm showing you this, I'll go into it here. Let's bring up CBLI. All right. I'm going to point out something to you here. All right. Because yesterday, this is yesterday's candle. Again, I said in the video for today's watch list, I said this is, stupid ahead of itself or something along those lines. But look at the volume. 39 million shares yesterday. All right? And I bring this up for a reason. Now let's go to 2-minute candles. And I'm going to show you what it looked like when I called it. I'm going to zoom in a little bit for you. Okay, so here is the opening. Now remember, 39 million shares traded yesterday, and now we're let's see, these are 2-minute candles. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 minutes into the session after a 39 million share day, and I see that this has a high of 426 and a lower high. Well, here it hit 413 here, it hit 411 here. So when I saw that and it was holding up pretty well, that's when I put this out. I thought if it gets up to 415, which is, if you picture a line right here, it's above that, what's to the left? A high of day break and maybe a gap fill, okay? And another thing, when you had a crazy move like you did yesterday, what happens is, and then you get the gap down, little pop, and then it sells off. Shorts are very confident now. I mean, everybody and their mother thinks, okay, that move was stupid, and it was, right, in CBLI. And so now the shorts are going to attack, right? Then a bounce, and the bounce fails again. And it looks like it's going to roll over. So, maybe more shorts piling in. But when this gets up here, everyone who shorted is almost underwater today, right? Everyone with that thesis that CBLI was, way ahead of itself and it's going to roll over today. Everyone who shorted on that thesis, if it gets up here, guess what? They're in a little bit of trouble. So that's why I picked 415 with a 399 stop. And then the very next candle, that's when it triggers, okay? And we're very close to a high of day break and then a potential little mini short squeeze, and that's exactly what happened. So we got long right about here, and it went all the way to 480 before rolling over. Now, I bring this up for a reason. Somebody, I posted the screenshot of the call on Twitter, maybe being a little bit braggy, but it's more about informing people what we do in the chat room than it is braggy, because I don't spend a penny on advertising, all right, not a penny. And so this is the kind of stupid stuff I deal with when I do something like that. So this Boone Trader guy says, it worked because your chat room piled in after you and you sold into them. Now, again, I don't give a rat's ass about this guy or anything, but I bring this up to make a point. First of all, 39 million shares yesterday, and this guy thinks I'm causing the volume the very second day, right? It's a stupid thesis, and an entry at 415, and over the next 4 minutes, it goes all the way to 480, and he thinks anyone in the chat room that bought 415 is in trouble? I mean, I don't even understand that. It's a stupid comment, but the point I'm trying to make is there are people out there running chat rooms, right? that would have called this up here. They literally teach their members to chase, right? I don't know where they get long here, they get long here, they get long here, and they think, ooh, it's going to break yesterday's high. You don't take something long after it's run from 386 to almost 480, but there are people out there running chat rooms that literally just teach their people to chase. They'll say, oh, I'm going to buy it here because it's going to take out yesterday's high, without any regard for the fact that this has just run a crazy amount percentage-wise in about 6 minutes, right? So what do? They're teaching people to chase. They're teaching newer traders to chase. Nobody in my chat room would ever take this up here. Well, nobody that listens to me or has taken our course, right? Some of these people, I honestly believe, teach their members to chase because they just need that last little push from their membership. Even if they chase it here and then they call it and say, ooh, it's going to break yesterday's high. They just need that extra little push to sell into. And that's sort of what that Boone Trader idiot accused me of, which, yeah, it got under my skin a little bit because the last thing I do is teach people to chase. I teach people proper entries, like 415 here, right? That makes a lot more sense, and a bunch of us made a killing. And another example would be IDXG. Let's go to 5-minute candles. Nope, let's go to 2-minute candles, which, and anyway, came out with a secondary in the afternoon, but had a huge move before that. Okay, same thing. IDXG called this long right about here on this green candle, right about $3.15. Okay, these are 2-minute candles. There's another perfect example. If anyone thinks that in the GreatStockPicks.com chat room, we're trying to get people to sell into, okay? No, we look for stuff that's actually tradable, right? With proper entry. So my idea was 315 here. Look at the volume in 2 minutes, 1.7 million shares, all right? That's an example. There's plenty of volume, and this thing just ended up ripping. And between IDXG and CBLI, I had my daily goal, and I think I had another couple other trades that worked out well too. But that is the difference between a chat room that teaches people to chase, so they have members to sell into, and what we do in the Great Stock. Again, I'm a little peeved at stupid comments like that, but you know, of course, you're never going to avoid stuff like that. But I see people doing that. I see chat room guys doing that all the time. And I don't like being associated with even a whisper of that kind of activity, because we actually teach people to trade. Between our chat room and our course, you wouldn't need our chat room. People that can't make it one day or they're traveling and they didn't get in the room, I'll still get emails and say, hey, you know, I got long the same one you did. I saw the gap play. I did everything you teach and made the trade without the room. I love seeing stuff like that, all right? You're never going to catch an entry from me by me just randomly going, long XYZ, right? Or I'll never buy something up here. I'd never buy something at 390 because, oh guys, it's going to push through 4, so I'm going to get long here. Even if that works, right? And you get out here, you've just taught people a terrible habit. No one should ever get long after an upside shape move. It's terrible, terrible policy, okay? Anyway, enough ranting. I'm going to go into the watch list here. But let's start with the SPY. Let's go to the daily. Okay, so the SPY, kind of an indecision day, just closing really close to where it opened. But if you look on an intraday basis, you know, gap down, almost closed the gap there, then took out the lows of the day and ended up closing kind of strong. But we're still, if you go on 60-minute candles, going out, I don't know, maybe 20 days here, we're still fairly close to the middle of a 20-day range. So there's no, again, as a day trader, I just want to make sure there's no shock events. And if there's no shock events, you know, like a nasty candle, I go ahead and just build a watch list for the next day, right? IWM, pretty much the same thing. Market is really just sideways for quite a long time here. So we can just build our lists and trade, right? So GNC, really nice volume, I think, on an earnings surprise, beaten up stock, maybe a follow-through day, red to green tomorrow, we'll see. CBLI, I'd like this to come in another day or two, and then I think we might have a really nice setup for a bounce, but I'm going to start watching it again tomorrow. I actually was watching it today and made some money in it, even though it closed weak. I'd like to see it come in for another day. XOMA, you can picture, I pan out here, you can see a really nice cup and handle formation, right? Here's the cup, here's the handle, and then today is day one of a breakout. And I don't mean to say day one as if to imply this is a multi-day breakout, because we don't know, right? It did close above its open, but it also closed well off its highs. So this just goes on watch. We'll see. Maybe a red to green tomorrow. Pretty nice volume for that stock. I would note, I would point out to you that this huge volume stick still barely broke 1 million shares. That'll show you how thin this thing is. So keep that in mind. All right, ADPT has been on Bounce Watch. Just goes back on Bounce Watch. I'll zoom in so you can see the really nice move here from $1.12 to what was that? $3.12 to 370. That's a monster move. Now you've got a lower high, lower high, lower high. So you're 3 days lower. I don't really like it if it comes all the way back in round trip, so I kind of need this to bounce tomorrow. So it goes on Bounce Watch tomorrow. No trades in it today, but it goes on Watch. TXMD, I'm going to pan out to show you why this one's interesting. I believe there was a secondary that gapped this down. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you know, and now you're what, 6 red days in a row and nearing that, see where it pierced 450 and then reversed big time. If it gets down around 450, this is really interesting for a potential intraday reversal. So as a day trader, that one has my attention. NADL, again, from like 70 cents to almost 4. Now you're 4 red days in a row, down to the 20-day. No trades in it today. Was on Bounce Watch for today. Did not give a setup, so it goes back on Bounce Watch tomorrow. STAF. I'm not a big fan of stocks under $1, but this, I believe, had like a nice earnings surprise or something here. And it popped all the way to $1.32 intraday. Fairly low float stock. Couple days lower into the 8-day. A little bit of a bottoming tail today. That one's interesting for a potential bounce tomorrow. And then lastly, I have NOVN. Short list today. NOVN kind of got close, maybe filled the gap here. And a nice little green day, narrow candle. And you can see it had a pretty good pop here on an intraday basis. Kind of gave it back, but then closed fairly strong, flagging at the end of the day. So I want to watch this one for a follow-through day on this green day, follow-through bounce day. All right, we'll add potential gappers in the morning to this list, and teamwork's been fantastic in there. Can't say enough about the group in there. And I hope to see everybody in the webinar tomorrow. Again, check the description to this video. The link will be there. The link will also be in my email, and I'll try to put it out on my Twitter and StockTwits feed as well, at least once tonight. If you can go through those feeds, you should find the link to register for that free webinar on Thursday too. Free scotch for the first 100 people that show up. All right, have a great night. See you tomorrow.